when you are starting a business, look internally, find your why, and then when you sell your why, your what is going to follow every single time. If you're just looking at selling your what, you're going to come off as just a salesy kind of person.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Worldwide. Thank you so much for being here, for showing up, and for tuning in. It is a new week, and we've got another guest who has an interesting journey and advice for you. So let's get right to it. The topic today is sales, selling success, and of course, relationships, which are the foundation. They are the cornerstone if you want to get to sales and selling success. And I've got the perfect guest to chat about this with me. Joining me on the show is Corina Burton. And Karina is a co-business owner of two of the fastest growing companies in the construction industry. And that's right, that's a male-dominated industry, which is interesting in and of itself. She is a motivational speaker. She's also a serial entrepreneur, and she has expertise in negotiating contracts, sales, business development, and customer relationship management, just to name a few things. So rather than me going on and on, Karina is here with us and she can share with you. Karina, welcome. Welcome to Women Worldwide.
Thank you. I'm honestly so honored to have this opportunity to talk to you. Just being able to empower other women is a very passionate passion of mine to be able to help other people.
Oh, that's wonderful, because we're all in this together. So the more that we can lock arms and do that, the more we can lift and make things happen. So I love to hear that. And I do want to, I always start this way with guests, maybe tell us a little bit about your journey to co-business owner in the construction industry.
Absolutely. So, my journey is a little bit interesting. At first, my first 10 years of my 20s, I went to college for about a year and I got married very, very young. And I had a family of 3 at a very young age. I was 19 when I got pregnant and had my first baby, and kind of just continued from there, building my family. And so, I didn't really have any work experience or, I didn't have a college degree behind me. But for me, I love being a mother, and a mother is really a defining attribute of mine. I always see myself as a mother first, but I'm also Karina, and I felt like there was a part of me that was disappearing. It was dissipating, and I didn't even know who I was, and I didn't have the support I really needed to be able to find who I was. And so I had made a decision to essentially change my life and to embark in this mission along with my children and this self-discovery. And it was definitely very difficult, because I went from being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years to learning how to provide for a family of 4. And I didn't understand all the ins and outs of that. And it was my mindset and determination that really allowed me to become successful as I am today with my companies. It was about a 10-year journey from when I changed my life to today has actually is 10 years. So I'm like, wow, I can't even believe how much I've accomplished in that time. But, in that journey, I've had 2 other entrepreneurial partnership opportunities. They were a little bit different than how my business is today, but they were still kind of that stepping stone of allowing me to know what it was like to be my own boss, or to be able to create something on my own and to become an entrepreneur, and what that felt like. But unfortunately, my first experience, it fell flat, and my business partners, it just wasn't a good fit for me. And, my background is in restoration services, and I predominantly worked with commercial real estate clients in the insurance industry. And, I got to a point where I had grown the business substantially, and I knew that I was in a very unfair situation, and I had to take myself out of it. And so, that was a really hard moment for me, being a single mom, going from, doing really well and seeing a business thrive because of my sales, because of what I was growing myself. And I had to essentially walk away from that. And, I went on and started doing more and more sales, and had another experience where I was invited to have a business partnership, and that failed as well. And it was almost the same situation. It was kind of like, it was really teaching me to have trust in myself with my intuition. And it was really teaching me my own abilities. And once that happened, I thought, wow, I can't believe that this is the second time this is happening to me. Maybe this isn't for me. I did have a moment where I thought, maybe my life is really just doing business development for me, myself, and it really is an entrepreneurship. And that's when I realized that I was so wrong, because all of the things that I had been working towards really aligned itself to where I am today within a couple months of leaving a partnership that left me deflated, feeling like I had no worth, and had a severe financial loss that really, at that time, really impacted my life and my family's life in a really serious way. Within 2 months, that light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, construction cleaning. And that's really, I think about this journey, and I'm like, if I wouldn't have had this sense of thinking failure is not meaning that you fail and you can't rise above that. It's really just a stepping stone and a learning experience, and that you just have to find another way, another route, another avenue to secure your dreams and your aspirations. And, then literally, as we created this idea, this concept, it really just soared. And I thought, man, 8 years into the making, I really finally created what I had established, which was, having trust in myself, building authentic relationships, and being able to create this successful company. But it took about 8 to 10 years for me to finally get to this point, with a lot of failures, a lot of struggles, a lot of loss. But now I'm seeing a lot of success and a lot of beauty that's coming from it, being able to help other women and reach out, to even men in the industry, or people who just want to start their own business, but yet have a lot of difficulties that are, having to face, to be able to make that plunge and saying, yes, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. Well, how am I going to do that? And being able to share my story and help other people has been probably the most exciting thing for me, to be able to see that a business can also be something that creates such a great community and do a lot of positive impact in your industry. So in a little sum of my 17-year journey, that would be it.
Well, that is amazing. First of all, I'm a firm believer. I love what you said about failure doesn't mean you failed. Failure is this word that we put on all these different scenarios. And you took that and you found another way. It was trial and error. And no matter how deflated or where your self-worth went, you did not let that stop you. And that is unbelievable. And no matter how much time it takes, it took you 8 years, it might take somebody 1 year, it could take somebody 20 years. The outcome is so much better and brighter, and there's always something new there. And as you were moving forward and as you found the selling success, was it the relationships? I mean, I know that I lined it up because you said how you saw the selling success, things really started to move. was it always relationships as a foundation? What big part or little part did they play?
So from the beginning of when I started in sales, I actually had a job with, I don't know if you're familiar with a jewelry company called Swarovski. They've been around forever. They make that beautiful Swarovski crystals.
Crystals, yes.
Yeah. So I started, I lived in West Hollywood and I started a sales job there. And they have the most dynamic sales program that you do as an employee once a month. You just, you get onto the computer, they make you go in the back room and do this, 30-minute sales training. And they really, really taught me how to involve storytelling with sales. And it was really helping other people envision themselves in the product. And so when you're storytelling, though, it's really drawing that emotion with people. And then you're connecting, and then they see this vision that they see themselves wearing the jewelry and they want the jewelry. And once it becomes an emotional aspect of it, they most likely will then become a buyer.
Absolutely.
And so I really loved that idea, because you then build this energy exchange with your client. And it doesn't matter what it is. You can be selling literally anything. But if you have a pure energy exchange, I can be completely opposite in my personality, who I am, and my whatever it is about me compared to my potential client. And if we have an authentic and real energy exchange, it becomes more of an emotional level where then they allow you in, because there's a trust factor. There's that moment where they feel that they can trust you. And that's really breaking that barrier. So, when I started in restoration, I started going in like a car salesperson, as sad as that sounds. But, there's about 350 restoration companies here in the Phoenix area. And so I'm just another dime a dozen going in and, talking to these potential clients. And so I'm just sharing, this is what we do. This is how we're the best. And I really was noticing that I was falling flat. And it was when I decided to look back at my previous experience and how was it that I was successful. And it was really allowing that genuine, authentic energy exchange. And it's really when you go in, you're saying hello, and you're really actually learning about the client rather than selling them anything. You don't even talk about anything. You just introduce yourself, you learn about them, you have that energy exchange. And I started to realize that my relationships became so solidified that it didn't matter if I was selling restoration, if I was in janitorial, if I was doing carpet cleaning, if I didn't
sell anything.
I could sell anything to the same people, because they're like, I know that Karina is trustworthy. I know that she's authentic. I know that she's coming to me because she wants to be a problem solution in my life. And she's not just going to leave me once she makes the sale. So I had developed that from almost right out of the gate. I had my few months of learning, the don'ts, you don't sell this way, and learning how to actually authentically build relationships with your potential clients. That I started to notice as well that my peers who are in business development, they're going out at happy hours, they're going out to every single event, they're exhausting themselves. And here I am as a single mom of 3 daughters. And I'm like, I don't have that capability. I don't want to sacrifice all of that time. And yet here I was, where people were like, how are you doing what you're doing, Karina? And it was because I was able to build a very different relationship with my clients rather than going out and having a good time.
So we're in the same playbook. I am so on your page, because what I'm hearing from you is the power of listening and tuning in. We're given 2 ears for a reason and only 1 mouth. There's a reason. Talk less, listen more. But it also speaks to the energy exchange. And in order to have an energy exchange, it is to listen, to learn, but it also takes a lot of presence. You have to be in the moment with a clear mind and focused. And I think that's where, when salespeople really turn it on, like the car salesman that you mentioned, they're just sharing what they want to share and getting something out. You're really not present in the moment and listening and able to even hear or comprehend what somebody else has to say. So it starts with all of that. That's so important.
Absolutely. And it really built my foundation to create a very successful company. And obviously at the time, I didn't realize that that was going to happen. So my biggest advocate for people is, when you are starting a business, look internally, find your why, and then when you sell your why, your what is going to follow every single time. If you're just looking at selling your what, you're going to come off as just a salesy kind of person. And most often than not, we are trying to reinvent, or create a business that's already in the industry, right?
Sure. So how do you stand out?
How do you stand out? And it's really differentiating yourself as creating your why. Why are you different? Why are you doing what you're doing? How can you be impactful, and how can you serve them? And without me knowing, I was creating that. And I knew that when I started my own business, after having that major entrepreneurial breakup, it had this very clear vision in my mind of the things that I wanted to be. And I'm so grateful for that, because then I knew this is the kind of business owner I want to be. This is the kind of the type of service that I want to offer. So it's really interesting how, when you follow certain patterns, it really creates a foundation for you. So does your foundation want to be made of sand where, when water comes up, it washes away? Or do you want to be a foundation where it's rock, right? It's so firm that even in the hard times, it never washes away. It stays, firm and sturdy.
So I was going to ask you a question about maybe sharing selling and sales success, but I'm going to pivot a little, because you answered a big question in terms of sell your why. And you were able to learn about your why because you transparently shared, which is awesome, about failure. For folks who don't necessarily, some entrepreneurs go along for a long time. They don't have big failure. They don't have things that really are those big wake up moments. What about them? How do maybe you're just doing okay and you want to do better. What are some tips for them to really get to the heart of their why?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, actually, because I do have a business that started after CPR Construction Cleaning, which is CPR Productions. And we help create that why for them, for companies who are like, how are you doing what you're doing? And I love the content that you're making. And it really has to do with sharing your why. So we help other companies discover that. And so what I tell our clients is, I want you to write down some of the factors of why you started what you're doing. What are the reasons? And really dig deep inside and find like those things that really emotionally connect with you. And it's usually going to be something in the sense of, well, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to, be a problem solution. I wanted to make an impact in the industry that you're in. And so once you're able to find those key factors, that's really going to embellish what you're sharing with your audience or what you're sharing with your content online. Because everything that you share, and when you say, so for instance, CPR Construction Cleaning was created to be a problem solution in construction cleaning. So I'm telling you why I'm doing this, and then the what follows. You'll always are going to see that, but I'm going to emotionally connect with you first. and then you're going to see what I'm offering you. So that's what, with any companies who have been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years, you still can change the dynamics of being able to look within, write down what's your vision statement? What's your mission? And figure out the emotional part within yourself, because you're the business owner. You started your business. And I always suggest to people who haven't started a business, though, to find ways that you can be a problem solution in your industry, because that is going to be the easiest way to see a significant growth. Because people have, let's say restoration, for instance, there's 350 companies already in the industry. Well, how am I going to differentiate myself if I'm offering the same everyone's going to offer the same exact service, but why am I offering it? What am I going to do that's different? And how is that going to set me apart from everyone else? And why are you going to want to do business with me? So those are my key points of, people who have been in the industry and are business owners, but want to level up, people who want to start businesses. Those are my, key suggestions of what I would have them do, either, now looking at their business, or, wanting to start a business, is rediscovering why.
Really good. Yeah. Do not skip the why part. That is the most important. And we all know every successful entrepreneur solves some kind of a problem. There's that why, and then could be followed by the what. I love asking this next question. If you could share an aha moment, just one of those moments, Karina, that really stuck with you, a learning moment that kind of stuck throughout your entire career. What was that scenario? What happened?
Oh, I'm like, to pick one.
I know.
I feel like I've had a lot, just because I have really learned a lot on my own. I've had to be someone who's very self-motivated and trial and error and learning on my own. So I would say, if I could say two things, one of them would be the aha moment of developing genuine relationships. I didn't really understand that at first. And it wasn't, even when I was doing it, I didn't really even fully understand what I was doing, right? It was just, I was listening to my intuition and allowing it to happen organically. And it wasn't until years later that I had that epiphany, like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this whole time.
I love that.
And look at this foundation that I've created. And it allowed me to see my self-worth and really help define my capabilities and to feel really proud of myself. The other thing that I had the aha moment was being somebody who's very emotionally impacted by my work and the people that I'm working with. I had to learn to ask questions when there were problems that had arisen, right? Instead of getting emotional about it and frustrated and saying, what happened? Kind of hear one side of the story. I had to learn, especially as a business owner, I had to step back,
be an observer,
what happened, and then ask lots of questions, because there are so many moving parts as a business owner. You have your employees, you have your subs who you might have, coming in and helping with some additional work, anything that, for us, we have several moving parts. And so I didn't always have that ability where I would stop, listen, and then ask a lot of questions about, how did this problem arise? And that is so important as a business owner, because you are the top of your business and everyone's watching, and you want to be a great example and a great role model for those that you're working with, and you want to inspire people.
Yes.
You don't want to be somebody that your employees fear. And I think that for me, that was probably one of my biggest aha moments that has made me become a better leader and a better business owner. And I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I would have learned that sooner though. But still.
Two powerful moments. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And I can't even believe I'm going to ask you this parting question. If you would, just to sum it up in a neat little package with a bow, share with the Women Worldwide Network just how that they can put their selling and sales success and relationships to work for them.
So I definitely would suggest to not fear social media. That has been one of my key factors that has catapulted our sales, was really being able to develop relationships online.
Very good.
LinkedIn for me has been one of the most pivoting growth. I was able to help grow my business from starting in Arizona into an additional 5 states. So we're now in 6 states, and we did that in less than 2 years.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Really
but we
good.
did that all through social media, because we obviously started really during the pandemic, our business. And so I would always say, I know it's scary to put yourself out there, but create an authentic, genuine platform. Share who you are, share what you're offering, but most importantly, share your why. And for a lot of women, we have a story, and don't be afraid to share that. Don't be afraid to share bits and pieces. I'm pretty authentic and raw, and I gotten to a point where I'm not really scared to share a lot of things, but for some women, they're not. So that's my biggest, my feedback is to develop a presence online for your selling, and realize that you can have that same strong relationships with people online as you do in person. And it's really important, especially because we've experienced the pandemic and we still are going through this roller coaster. If you have the ability to create a sales opportunity online, grow it, because the opportunity is 100% there.
I agree. I love LinkedIn myself, and it's all about that authentic, genuine platform. Really good advice, Karina. Last question, super easy. Where can people find out more about you and your businesses?
Awesome. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always there. And also my companies are on LinkedIn, CPR Construction Cleaning, CPR Productions. We can help assist you with any of your content creating in an authentic way. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. And I also have my personal website, because I've been asked now that my LinkedIn has grown to close to 30,000 followers. I've had a lot of people ask for coaching opportunities. So now you can find me at CorinaBurton.com. If anyone has questions or any support that I can give, just email us there, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome. Karina, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your journey, giving really good advice. I hope everybody checks out your website and connects with you on LinkedIn. So thank you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
Anytime. And thank you to all of you for tuning into Women Worldwide. And you know how to get in touch with me. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Deep Breckenridge. And of course, as a LinkedIn lover, you can always contact me on LinkedIn. Connect with me there. Okay, friends, until our next episode, stay focused, energized, and feeling empowered. Thank you.